Retro Hangover is supported via Patreon by listeners like you. We'd especially like to thank patrons Lyle McCarnes, Ashton Ruby, Randall Quiggle, Tony G, Stud Still Smash the Milkman, Keith Gasper, Raging Demon, Miss Peachy, Mass Keaton, Diskai Mara, Ozzy Garcia, JC, Megan Caruso, Andrew Liguori, Lunchbox, aka the Disgruntled Gamer, Adam from The Good, the Bad, the Backlog, Rick Firestone, Dave Jackson, Jenny E, Retro Overdrive, Soha, Parallax Puddles, The Emperor, Storm Beagle, Matt, aka Stormageddon, B. Ross and Van Fernal from Super Garbage Day, Gary Heather, the Retro Vixen, Eric Guess, Nomad from the Retro Wildlands podcast, Ash Events, Alan Bingham, Mike the Ref from Backbreaker Gaming, Ryan, Player One, Low 5 Alex, Alt, Renner Dreaming, and Oh Me. Your continued engagement and generous donations are deeply appreciated. Welcome to The Flight, a consumable curation of champions and catastrophes that is considerate of your chronometer. It is I, Chris Copleen of the Retro Hangover podcast that you are listening to, and we are here to give you another top 5 list of things from the silver screen or the smaller screen. I don't know if they have anything different for TVs. I'm going to ask the host with the most that you always hear from all the time, Shane, Dick Dragon, Celtaire. What do they call the silver screen on the TV? Is it still the silver screen?
You know that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if there's a name for it. I guess it's just a smaller silver screen. It's the boob tube.
It is the boob tube, but like there's a reason it's called the silver screen. I think.
Yeah,
I am not prepared to talk about movie history.
You're like, I am immediately recognizing I'm out of my depth.
Yeah. I'm sure a quick Google search could back that up. Like, was there silver in the screens back in the day that they put projectors on? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Also wouldn't surprise me if they moved away from that because that could get expensive after a while. And no, I'm not saying silver was in there. I'm just contemplating if there was. Because I have no fucking idea. Because I am not prepared for this. Anyway, are you ready to talk about the top 5 TV and movie adaptations that we think don't suck? So technically our top 5, Shane.
I am indeed. It's I would argue that the list of potential options for this top 5 is a lot more succinct than the alternative. If this was a worst adaptations, we would have a whole bevy of choices to pick from.
Absolutely. Well, how about we get this started? And I guess I'll kick this one off, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? That sounds like a great idea. Why don't you start us off with your number 5?
Number 5.
All right, so before I officially get started into this, just a reminder, I'm just listing off the ones that I have seen. So here's some things that you're not going to hear in my list, just as a primer. You're not going to hear the Super Mario Brothers movie because I haven't seen that, or Fallout because I haven't seen it, or The Last of Us because I haven't seen it. Okay, and if you just want to watch The Last of Us TV, just play the game. Okay, there you go. Anyway, so I'm going to start out with my number 5, and my number 5 is going to be Street Fighter the movie. And the reason it's my number 5 is because Raul Julia.
Hell yeah.
I don't think I need to say much more than that. Also, Jean-Claude Van Damme and Kylie Minogue as Cammy.
That's peak 90s.
Oh, man. Do I really need... I mean, it's cheesy. It's stupid. Blanca looks horrible in all the best ways.
Jean-Claude Van Damme was smacked out of his head on cocaine.
As we all were in the 90s.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah.
They call it sugar, but I know it was really in our breakfast cereal. That's why we miss it.
That's why they had to change the name Smacks. I get it. I know what Smacks are now. That's little on the nose, huh, Kellogg's? Was it Kellogg's? Anyway, yeah, so that's my number 5. Street Fighter the movie.
For M. Bison, it was just a Tuesday.
Oh, it'd be great if this came out on Tuesday, but that would complicate things. So
That's
don't
true.
do that.
That's true. All right. Well, rolling right into my number 5, I am going with. So I feel like I should put the same caveat out there real quick. I could have put the likes of the Fallout TV series or maybe Last of Us or things like that, but I have not watched them, so I'm not going to. And there's a number of other things that probably could have been on this list, but I had to pare some stuff down to just be like a little bit more personal to me. And so that's also spoiler. That is why the Sonic movie is not on my list. I'm just going to say that right now. It was good. I enjoyed it, but I've got other picks that I think mean more to me personally. So, Tomb Raider is my number 5, and you might be thinking, oh, you mean the reboot one, to go with the reboot of the series where it was more gritty and realistic and not triangle tatas? No, I am not.
Fuck that.
I am talking
Fuck that.
Straight up peak Angelina Jolie. Like, okay, she was perfect. She was perfect for that role. Like, when I saw that they had cast her as Tomb Raider, I was like, that makes sense. And
she's Lara Croft.
Yeah, she is Lara Croft. And are they like high cinema? No, but they're damn entertaining. At least the first one. I have very hazy memories of the sequel that she did, but the first movie,
don't worry, everyone does.
Yeah, but the first movie, pretty solid. And especially at a time when, a lot of video game adaptations or games trying to make the leap into other forms of media weren't really sticking the landing. This was an oddity, I think, in that it was actually pretty decent. And I dare say, even if you had no idea what Tomb Raider was, it's still a pretty solid little action flick. So that's what I'm kicking my list off with.
Number 4.
All right, so I'm going to continue on the fighting game craze, and I'm kind of surprised I ended up putting this movie much lower on my list. When I built this list, I put this one at like number 2 right off the get, and then I found some other media that I remember watching, like, I got to drop this down. It sucks. But so my number 4 is Mortal Kombat, because it's the original one. The one that came out when like I was a kid.
Oh, hell yeah. The 1995 one with Christopher Lambert. Yeah,
that one. Like there would be any other Mortal Kombat movie.
No.
I don't tell me there is, because you're a liar. That is the only Mortal Kombat movie in my mind, with the teacher from Billy Madison as Sonya.
Oh God, I forgot that. That's true.
Minogue. Yeah,
I never made that connection. Yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot of other actors that I'm not remembering, but that's the one that sticks out in my mind the most. Christopher Walken and Sonya, for different reasons. But yeah, Mortal Kombat. It's a fun, stupid movie, man. I don't think, maybe we do get enough of those movies. I don't know. I haven't watched like any serious film in like the past 5 years. I'm not even going to like pretend I pay attention to anything other than YouTube nowadays. But that is a movie I think was very formative in my childhood. I don't know if I've told this story before in the podcast. I maybe have, but like when Mortal Kombat 2 came out, I think because of the Mortal Kombat movie, like there was this like summer daycare that my parents just kept me at during the day, because they both had to work, and in summer they just didn't want to leave us all at home. And we got some of the teachers there to film me and my friend to dress up like the masked ninjas as we pretended to beat the crap out of each other and put blood all over each other, and the teachers filmed it, and we had like the script and everything like that. It's like, yeah, Mortal Kombat, man. But like that was kind of the influence, and like I don't know how to else to describe it. It's just stupid. It's fun. It's not atrocious like the just way too stupid and unfun Annihilation. That movie sucks.
Yeah.
I think as a kid, Annihilation was a movie I went to the theater with, and I remember watching it. And I was like, I don't want to be here. This movie is terrible. I think that's the first time I ever felt that in the theater. But like Mortal Kombat, like it's still cheesy popcorn flake B-moving fun if you want to have a good Friday night and just, get blitzed out of your mind and watch a movie. Not that I know about getting blitzed. It's been a long time for that too. But maybe soon. Who knows? But yeah, Mortal Kombat number 4.
It's a good pick. It's a good pick. All right. Well, moving right up, my number 4 is honestly, it was it's funny because I reconfigured my list at the very last second, just because there were a number of ones that I wanted to include, but alas, we are only allowed to put 5. So my number 4 is the Castlevania Netflix animated series. I really
forgot
enjoyed
about
it,
that.
like a lot.
Oh my God.
What?
I've completely forgot about that.
Oh, well, so the funny thing is I've heard through the grapevine, and by that I mean our Discord for the most part, that I guess the show can be kind of divisive. There were some folks that really just didn't vibe with it, which is a shame because I actually thought it was very well done. I loved the art style. I loved the writing. I thought the dialogue was fantastic. I thought the characters were very well written. It's pretty much everything that I would have asked for in an animated Castlevania adaptation. Like I thought it was a lot of fun. It was definitely adult oriented, but I think that was appropriate for the source material. I think it could have been good anyway, even if they had tamed it down for like younger audiences. But I really think that leaning into the fact that, if you really think about what Castlevania is and, the plots of the games and what it's based on, it is a bit more of a mature, sort of story. So I think it did that pretty well. So yeah, no, I dug it. Like we binged all of that, like as soon as it came out. So yeah, no, good stuff. Castlevania. I'm glad. I want more good Castlevania content. I think that's the thing too, is even if there were some things that like I might not have been super into, I probably would have still given it a little bit of a pass just because I'm like, oh, I'm just starving for quality Castlevania stuff. So
you're making me hate myself because I completely forgot about that.
That's okay. It was included one way or the other, so we didn't completely forget it.
Number 3.
Okay, anyway, my number 3. I'm dipping back into Street Fighter with Street Fighter 2, the animated series. And not the animated series, the animated movie. Animated movie. The one with the Cammy and Vega fight that everyone knows. And especially because it has KFMDM in it. And that has a badass song in there. And Alice in Chains, Them Bones, was in the movie too, in the American version. Animation style is great. Is it a perfect representation of Street Fighter? No, it's really the Ryu movie, but let's be honest. I mean, Street Fighter really is the Ryu series in video game form. I don't know. Well, and also Guile. It's weird. It's either it's Guile or it's Ryu, and I've never liked Guile. I don't understand why so many people like Guile. I mean, he has a badass theme song.
He does.
I'm an American. I don't like Guile. I like Ken way more. So much better. But the animated movie is one of the first animes that I really got my hands on. And I think if you were a fan of Street Fighter, and if you went to Blockbuster and you saw it sitting in the cartoon section next to all the ones that said adult content, don't rent this out. And that happened with Street Fighter as well. I don't know why. Well, yeah, they had 2 different versions. They had the one that showed off some Chun-Li assets, some Chun buns, and one that did not. And so you always knew what you would be going for. I think this movie came out in 1994. 12 or 13-year-old boy would be looking to pick up. Definitely the one that was in the red box. So or had some red label on it. I don't know. But it's a nice little anime. I'm sure they've made plenty of better animes in like afterwards because it has gotten a lot better in how they tie video games and animes together. I'm sure. But this is the one that sticks out the most. This is the one I think is going to ring true with a lot of our listeners. And yeah, I love it. Cammy's in it too, and I love Cammy, and she breaks some dude's neck, and that was cool. And just some badass fight sequences. Everyone looks awesome. and how they're depicted. And I think Blanca kills Zangief.
Mm.
I don't know why that's important, but it does happen.
I feel like
So
we know
yeah.
at least one person that would be pretty miffed about that.
Yeah. Sorry, Adam. Your bear has died.
Chun buns. That's great. And not the ones on her head either. Alrighty. So moving right along, my number 3 is going to be the Silent Hill movie. Now, I know that might be a surprise, possibly, because, you know, if you're a big fan of the actual games like I am, that's probably maybe a little heretical to say, because it's like, oh, the movies only barely adhere to anything that the games did, which is true. But I'm not gonna lie, the first Silent Hill movie, there are parts that are shitty. Straight up, like it's a rough start. Okay, it's a rough start when you have that little girl out there wandering around on her lawn in the middle of the night, just yelling Silent Hill. It's cringy as fuck. Like there's no two ways about that. But once you get past that, it is a pretty fun little popcorn flick, and it actually does draw from a number of sources from the Silent Hill material that kind of makes it its own sort of thing. Some of it is nonsensical if you're trying to adhere to the lore specifically, like why the fuck is Pyramid Head even there? But it's fan service. It's really what it is. It's a lot of fan service. And I'm not gonna, I can't deny the fact that when I went to the theater with my buddy to watch this, when it came out, we were both just elated when Pyramid Head stands on the stairs of that church and just straight up strips the skin off of someone in one swoop and throws it at the door. That is insane. And I feel like that one sequence kind of sold it for me. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm not hard to please, and that would be one of those cases. It did a lot of things wrong, but I think it also did a lot of things right as far as being entertaining. And hey, you know, bonus, it's one of the few pieces of media where Sean Bean doesn't die. So you got that going
Shocker.
for you. Yeah.
It's almost like he wasn't supposed to be in it if he's not supposed to die.
Yeah, it's almost like his character was shoehorned in at the last moment and doesn't actually have any real like material impact on the movie's plot whatsoever. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, weird.
Number 2.
All right. So my number 2, I didn't even remember it. And then I was looking up, you know, just trying to remind myself of what adaptations were made and what weren't made. And then I came across it and it's like, I fucking loved that movie. It was adorable. It was hilarious. And Ryan Reynolds is fucking the man. So my number 2 is Detective Pikachu.
Good choice.
It is such a good movie. Just it's a good story. It gets into the world of Pokemon. And it does a lot of the fan service, as you would imagine, as it should, but I never feel like it just completely, you know, talks down to the audience. It's not like one of those kids movies that just assumes all kids are stupid. And yeah, it still has like kind of the power of friendship kind of thing going on, like you would expect from most movies of this type, but it's not like a cheesy brain dead kids movie. There's like heart and emotion in it. I thought it was really good, and it took me by surprise, and it's well acted, it's well written, and the ending is pretty emotionally impactful, or it can be. I mean, if you don't think so, that's fine. But I thought that like overall, like it was just it way exceeded my expectations, especially for a Pokemon movie, which is usually just a typical kind of cash grab or put it out there. The kids are going to feast on it like pigs at a fucking trough, and their parents cry as they shell out more money for fucking Pokemon products. But no, like it 100% delivered. And fuck, I totally enjoyed it 100%. Detective Pikachu is an easy number 2 for me.
Yeah.
I just wish it was Danny DeVito.
Yeah, I almost had it on my list. It was one of the ones that I had to unfortunately cut. Didn't quite make the grade for me, but I'm glad that you included it because it is really good. Even as someone who's not like
It's damn good.
super into Pokemon, like it's a good movie.
Oh, I'm not into Pokemon anymore either, but I was when I was a lot younger. So
Yeah. All right. Well, my number 2 is it's been, this is like what I consider a guilty pleasure one of mine for a very long time. I guess it's sort of at this point neighbors with Silent Hill in that category, but it's the first Resident Evil movie with good old Mila Jovovich.
Multipass.
Yes, Multipass.
Yes.
It's just a fun movie, man. And actually, surprisingly, I will not say for any of the following ones, although I did actually unironically enjoy pretty much all of the other Resident Evil movies afterwards. But this one, I think, was the one that probably stuck closest to the source material. It for the most part, it's actually a pretty straight retelling of a lot of the events like in Raccoon City and everything that led up to the outbreak and all that with the Umbrella Corporation. And it's actually really well done. Like especially for a video game adaptation, like it's fun. It's got a lot of great action. Like the acting is really, really good, man. To this day, I remember the elevator sequence towards the beginning it's harrowing. It's like one of those things it's like one of those fears that most people have of just like getting, something stuck in an elevator or whatever and it moving and just chopping an arm off or some shit. Like, so, yeah, man, it was just a good time. And like the AI, that like kind of goes crazy and tries to lock everything down is kind of super spooky. Like the whole thing is a vibe. And it's one of the ones, I haven't done it in a long time, but when I was younger, I used to just throw on DVDs kind of in the background while I'm doing other things. And this was one of the ones that would be one of my go-tos. I would just throw on because it's just fun. It's just a fun watch. So it's my number 2.
Number 1.
So my number 1 is the last movie I watched before we were all shoved into our homes permanently in 2020 till we could come out again. And actually the since I saw this movie in the movie theaters, I've only seen one other movie in a movie theater since. And that was at the time of this recording, Deadpool and Wolverine, which was the last movie I saw in a movie theater. But before that, I waited a full 4 years because the movie that I last saw before Deadpool and Wolverine over a 4-year period was Sonic the Hedgehog, which is also my number 1 video game movie. Not the one with the teeth. Well, I mean, they got rid of that. I don't even know why I said that, but it's such a delightful movie. I am a big fan of Sonic conceptually. I'm starting to embrace that. I'm becoming a bigger and bigger Sonic fan every year. And maybe that's a disease. Maybe that's a sign of onset dementia, maybe autism. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm developing some sort of mental condition, but I am like a bigger Sonic fan every year. And I just realized that this was a movie I really liked. Jim Carrey put on an amazing performance. Is there some cringe and like some kind of, stupid dialogue and dumb plot things? I don't know. I mean, would it really be a Sonic product without that? I don't think so. Like, you need some things that are just dumb and out of place in order for it to be a true Sonic product, in order to live up to the name that is Sonic the Hedgehog. But I remember seeing it with my kids in March of 2020, and no one was in the theater because, everyone was not wanting to go anywhere. And that was that memory really kind of rings out because we almost had the entire theater to ourselves as we were watching the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and I had a great time with it. So it really paid off. I love Sonic. Sonic is my number 1.
I am absolutely shocked by this choice.
My choice or your choice?
Your choice.
Why? It's Sonic. Sonic's great.
It's sarcasm, Chris. Sarcasm. I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at all.
I can't tell. I can't tell. because like your sarcastic voice kind of sounded like a serious voice in that take.
That's just.
I apologize.
I've been told that's just my voice, so take that for whatever.
You must have
will.
a cold.
Yeah, I think I have a perpetual like low level cold all the time. I'm sure that's probably fine.
You have a resting bitch cold.
Yeah, that's great. So my number one, because I don't know how the fuck to segue from that. I changed at quite literally the last minute, like within the last 30 seconds, because I actually had a game that we've already talked about at my number one, but then I thought about something else that I can't believe I didn't include, and so I quickly usurped it. So I was gonna say Mortal Kombat, but because it's already been brought up, I feel like it's been given its due, and I will say at this point, let's call it an honorable mention. I really do just unironically enjoy the first Mortal Kombat movie, but I think something that was more impactful for me, and this is great because this highlights the the long-standing divide between the two camps, and Chris and I embody these perfectly. While he picks the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, I have decided that my number one is the Super Mario Super Show with Captain Lou Albano, because that shit was awesome. And it was a huge part of my childhood. Now, is it like cheesy as all fuck? Yes, absolutely. But I loved it, man. Like having a cartoon, not only a cartoon, but like a live action version of Mario and Luigi combined on TV, like at the height of like, Mario Mania, was awesome. Like it was awesome to watch this on like, a Saturday morning or what have you. So it's one of those deals, right? Like if you know me at all, you also know that I'm a big Ninja Turtles fan. And listen, like I have the original animated series on disc in the little like collector's edition that comes in the turtle van. It's very cool. But if you go back and watch that series now, it hasn't aged well, like at all. And so that's one of those deals. It's like, it's kind of better just left in your memory that it was a great thing that you did as a kid. And I suspect, because it's been a hot minute since I've gone back and watched much of the Super Mario Super Show, that it probably falls into that same category where a lot of it maybe doesn't hold up as well as we thought it did. But I'm going with more of the sentimentality on this one because, like I said, it was a big part of my childhood growing up. It was one of the shows that I watched pretty regularly. And like I said, it was just cool, man. Like it was cool to have something like that on TV so that you could sort of have this divide of media from like going and playing your Nintendo or your Super Nintendo and then being able to watch a show of basically it felt like it was expanding the universe of Mario because you got to see all these other adventures they would go on and them interacting with each other like in ways that they don't in the games. And it was just really neat. So there you go. Super Mario Super Show.
That's a great pick. That's all I have to say about that.
I mean, that's all that needs to be said, There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that's our list.
I guess so.
Yeah. Number one, Super Mario Brothers Super Show, Lou Albano.
Hell yeah.
Do the Mario. Fuck you.
That's right. Pizza Paisanos. So there you go. Or I think it was Pasta Paisanos. Anyway, regardless, pizza, pasta, just put it in a box. Never mind. That's a whole other
breakfast on your TV tray.
That's right. My bowl of sugary cereal and orange juice.
Oh, did you have a TV tray? Do you remember those?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I have a Mario one.
Oh, see, I wasn't that cool. I just had one of those like basic ass like brown ones.
You got like all the feels going with me right now. I'm gonna stop talking, or else I'm gonna go forever. Please, let's wrap this up.
All right. Well, before we go on a nostalgia binge, which is kind of ironic given the show, There you have it. Those are our top fives. So, did you agree? Do you not? Do you have commentary? Do you have thoughts about our picks? Do you want to share your own picks? We'd love to hear it. I would say, like a lot of other places, like leave a comment below or whatever, but we're not that kind of media. So probably the best way is just to get into the Discord, because technically we're on social media, but yeah, we don't do much with that these days. We kind of keep a lot of our interactions and stuff in our Discord, because it's just there's a lot of good conversations that go on in there. And so if we're going to expend energy anywhere, I think that's a good place to do it. So if you want to get in on those discussions, as well as, a lot of other cool stuff we got going on, we have our monthly high score challenges. We have our Retro Hangover review crew, which is like a monthly book club, but for video games. A whole bunch of other stuff. Go there and you can find that at our link tree. We made it easy for you. All of our stuff is in one spot. So head on over to linktree/retro hangover and clicky on the button that suits you the best. And that may include the Patreon, or maybe the merch store if you want to support the show that way. We got a whole bunch of extra content on the Patreon that's just waiting for you to devour. We've heard it's pretty good. The existing patrons seem to like it. They dig the content that we put out on the reg. So if you just can't get enough of us yapping in your ear, then there is more of that for you to find. So there you go. Chris, would you like to add anything to my sales pitch?
I would just like to say, if you're listening to this on YouTube, you can leave a comment below.
You can.
This will be on YouTube at some point. So
We-
thank
we-
you,
we-
YouTube listeners.
So we may not ever see it or read it, but you can do it. It's there.
It's there. Hopefully we get to it. But if you like to watch us stream, head over. I think you mentioned the stream, but I'll say it anyway. Head over to either YouTube channel or our Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Retro Hangover. YouTube channel, just type in Retro Hangover Podcast. You'll find us. And we stream at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So come over there and hang out with us. And I'm not going to say anything crazy because this isn't a main episode. This is a flight. So I'm not going to ask you what texture your nipples are on this show. I might do it on the next one. So, stay tuned.
On a cliffhanger. I like it. All right.
Yeah.
Well, with all of that said, until next time.
Play with your is there silver in it or not joysticks.